Assalamualaikum and a very good day to my lecturer, Dr. Nurulina binti Muhammad Noor, and also my friends. So today I would like to discuss about my film essay, The Perseverance and the Sacrifice of Early Motherhood in the film The Baby. So the film The Baby is directed by Ali Asghari, who was born in Tehran, Iran. He is an alumnus of Berlinale Talent Campus of 2013. He is mostly well known for his other two short films, More Than 2 Hours and The Silence, that were premiered in a short film competition at Festival de Cannes. The film that I would like to discuss today is called The Baby, and it was premiered in a short film competition of Venice Film Festival in 2014. His work has been premiered in more than 600 film festivals throughout the years worldwide and has won more than 150 international awards. So, what is this film about? The film The Baby transports you in the streets of Iran where we see two young girls trying to find a solution in desperate measures to hide their baby. Nargis, I'm sorry if I butcher her name. Nargis and her friend were desperate in finding a place to hide her baby. This is because they imply that her parents were unsupportive of the baby and she would have to deal with a lot of consequences if her parents find out. So throughout the film you can see her and her friend trying to get help and find different ways to hide her child from her parents visiting. This is very common for our society today, especially the communities with certain religious and cultural background, especially in Iran, where this film was placed. So although this film is not action-packed, it perfectly displays more authentic real-life problems in the eyes of our society today. It is shot in a documentary fashion where we can really feel for Narges and her friend trying to find a solution to hide her baby. It is relatively simple and easy to understand, but it gives a lot of insight of the things girls go through in adolescence pregnancy in such a judgmental society. So my question is, if teen pregnancy is so frowned upon in our society, why is this case so rampant? But before we dive into that, in an interview with IndieWire, Ali Asghari said he is interested to dive into the portrayal of real human experiences in his film. His main interest is to tell stories that reveal the human condition of people coming from a certain cultural and social background. I quote him, "I want to show the pain, the sorrows, and the emotions of other people through my own feelings. It is very important to me that I leave the audience with the feeling that I expect them to feel," he said, and it is perfectly portrayed in the film The Baby. So what does it mean when I say the perseverance and sacrifice of early motherhood? Well, being a mother at a young age when one is unprepared can impose so many issues to an individual, especially within a society that looks down on adolescent pregnancy. This transition between childhood and motherhood can be a rough time for girls as they struggle with conflicting identity of being a teenager, a mother, and adult. There are many factors that can make it a challenge, but one of the biggest ones is when a teenager experiences denial and rejection by their parents and family members due to their adolescent pregnancy. So in the film, Nargis told her best friend that a friend of theirs could not keep the baby for her. Their other friend could not bear the responsibility of keeping the baby for her because the friend's mother did not agree with it. Her best friend asked when will they arrive, when she replied around 8 p.m. And this means that they had to find a place to keep the baby before 8 p.m. that night, which seems not much time since it was evening already in the film. Later, Nargis's best friend insists to give her parents excuses as to why they should not visit that day. Nargis states that she already gave so many excuses throughout her pregnancy to avoid her parents from coming, so she could not do that anymore. It shows that she really could not open up to her parents of the baby in fear of consequences of rejection or being pushed away by her family. The desperation continues after many failed attempts of asking for help from their peers, because most of their peers gave a lot of excuses of not wanting to deal with it or they're busy. Nargis insists on keeping the baby in her friend's dorm for the night, which is strictly forbidden as their last resort. From these scenes in the film, we could see the pain and struggle Nargis has to experience having to leave her child that night. We could feel the sorrow that she felt having to hide her own child from her family in fear of being rejected, and certainly feel the worrisome thought of deciding what to do with her child. It gives me a whole feeling of resonance, putting us in Nargis' shoes, and invokes a feeling of real situation many young women go through all around the world. From the interactions between Nargis and her peers, and also Nargis revealing some information about her parents, it shows that there are tension between society and young motherhood. There are social consequences for bearing a child while being unmarried and being young. This includes stigma, fear of rejection by parents, family, and peers. These issues incite fear in her, leading to the situation in the film where they both tried so many solutions to hide the baby. At one point in the film, they both reside in a cafe. After numerous attempts of reaching out to their friends for help and failed, they had no other choice. And Nargis's friend gave her a long look and asked her why did she not just abort the baby while she could. I quote, "How many times have I told you not to be stupid and abort her?" her friend asked. I could feel the heaviness of that question with the look in Nargis's face when being asked that, and from my perspective, everyone assumes young parents know the answers to everything. If she knew what would happen in the future and the burden of keeping the secret, she would have aborted the baby. Besides, being a mother also comes with you developing a connection with your newborn baby. It is not an easy decision to leave your child forever, even when the weight of responsibility is on your shoulder. Another question being brought up was why did Nargis not just tell her parents the truth? This further implies that she lacks the courage to open up in fear of how her parents are going to accept it or not. Though they did not explicitly mention this, but we could deduce this from how they respond with the issue at hand and how desperate they are. And besides that, there's this one scene where her friend received a call from a mutual friend of theirs who is willing to help them keep the baby the next day. Nargis inclined to trust her friend's mutual in helping her because she is afraid of judgment and afraid of people telling her. We can see this happening in real life because in society where it is hard to accept adolescent pregnancy, she is afraid of being seen as a bad human or a bad parent. This goes to show how heavy of a burden an early pregnancy could do to a young teenager if their parents or peers is not accepting of it. We can also deduce that adolescent pregnancy has a big impact on young girls' lives. Factors such as unplanned and imposed pregnancies, partners' families' reactions to the pregnancy, and psychological issues may emerge and cause a devastating cycle in women's lives. Of course, different families impose different reactions. One could be accepted while most are not. All these experiences should not be in the hands of young teens who are still undergoing growth, mentally and physically. Why is this important? Because I feel like the subject that this film is bringing up resonates with the harsh truth of our reality. Based on the research that I found on adolescent mothers in South Africa, the adolescent mothers experienced that the revelation of their pregnancy had negatively impacted their relationship with their family. Not only their relationships are affected, but the pregnancies also had a huge impact on their psychological well-being. They were surrounded by the feeling of guilt, shame, and suicidal ideation. Participants from the research also claimed that there are other major effects in the lives such as financial constraints, difficulty accessing healthcare services, stigmatization of healthcare workers, and exposure to the judgmental society. They will feel outcasted and isolated, and also they emphasize discrimination and stereotyping by society as well. So in conclusion, I would like to summarize that adolescent pregnancy is a big issue that influences the lives of young women these days. There are a lot of factors when it comes to teen pregnancy, and it could be due to poverty, low levels of education, imitating parents, negative family reactions, religion, of course, peer reactions, and peer pressure. Across the board, the baby shows the ugly side of the coin, which most people shun upon, which is the perspective of young women who are in constant fear of rejection and discrimination from family and peers alike. So it is very important for us to identify these causes to prevent this issue from escalating in our society by giving support and assistance to those in need. Our education system and professional sectors should work on giving better understanding of our own biology and the risks of unprotected sex to young adults who are going through a lot of hormonal changes and give the right treatment when it is needed. So that is all from me. Thank you so much for watching.